At the start of every show, we talk about the fact that our political system is dysfunctional and polarized. And I know that's what I believe, and I know my viewers believe that, but every once in a while, it's not exactly gratifying the right word, but sometimes you just have to find out that statistically you're right. And in fact, the system isn't working. And in the case of our next segment, in fact, that the public just doesn't think government is working at all. We're not going to have solutions in this segment, but I think we're going to help define the problem a little better, and then throughout the year maybe come back to some of these statistics and see if we can find ways to make the system better and improve upon them. But this reflects a study that the Pew Research Center did and published in November. And the topic is basically of trying to get a read on how people view their government. I think you're going to see in a second, after they did the statistics and after they did the study, that's when they decided how to name it. So again, we're going to look at the results from a Pew Research Center study from November and take a look at their findings on how people view government. So we're going to go to the whiteboard here, and again, we got a Pew study from November of 15, and you'll see what they've now labeled their study after they've done all their statistics and number crunching. It's called Beyond Distrust, How Americans View Their Government. So I think you can guess where these numbers are going to end up. Just want to quickly point out some of the numbers from the overview of the study. 19% trust government. So that means the corollary is some function of 80+% don't trust government in differing degrees. But 19% trust government. And according to Pew, this is among the lowest that they found in their last 50 years of doing similar studies. 20% think that government programs are well run. And another interesting statistic that came out of this study is 55% think that the man on the street, in other words, the average man on the street, can do a better job than the people that we're electing to do the work. 60% of the findings are that, or 60% of the people responding rather say that we need major reform in government. 74%, and I found this to be very interesting, I didn't think it would be quite this high. 74% of the people responding think that elected officials put themselves first. So in other words, only roughly 25% people think the reverse, that elected officials are honoring their fiduciary obligation to the people they serve, and rather most of the people think elected officials are putting themselves first in their decision-making process. This was kind of the overview section, and I looked at some of the interim statistics, and of the interim statistics, the one I found most popular was in response to the questions, does government do well in lifting people from poverty? And on that one, 42% of the Democrats think that government does well, and only 30% of the Republicans think that government does well. So I found that statistic very interesting, particularly in the context of the conversations we're having around income inequality, Professor Robert Putnam's book, etc. So anyway, this is the Pew study, and these are some of the statistics that I found compelling. What I'd like you to do is perhaps drill down and look at the whole Pew study. Obviously, I've cherry-picked this to death. I found the statistics that are pretty self-serving, obviously. But I think they paint a picture of a society who thinks their government is not doing a good job. And even in that last statistic on poverty and helping people out of poverty, if you notice, it was the Republicans who felt government was doing a pretty bad job. And Republicans, I think, normally get stung with a label of not caring about poor people. In this case, they're the ones that are thinking government's doing even a worse job than the Democrats think. So again, I'm sorry for the cherry picking, but I do want to alert you to this study, Pew Research Center from November. Look it up, read the whole study, and get informed. If nothing else, we always want our viewers to be informed.